Here's a replay of the move into turn one, and actually it was a long way back coming on to the straight, but it shows you what the DRS does here. It just glided past. Jamie saw it coming, had an eye on him all the time, and let the fellow Audi driver through, because there's still a long way to go. And as you say, he now gets the benefit of DRS, but he's just got to be a little bit careful of this group that's catching them up behind.
Okay, so it's all changed at the front then, as Molina then takes over the lead from Jamie Green. And it's Wickens, Wittmann, our Vitoris Ekstrom, who seemingly is on a real charge now and is almost on the back of Christian Vitoris, isn't he? And now Marco Wittmann takes a look at Robert Wickens as they go into that turn one. Wickens firmly but forcefully closes the door and says, "Oh no, you don't, you're not coming through." Well, the pressure really is mounting on Robert Wickens now, which means that he's slipping back from the two Audis of Molina and Green, that are able just to eke out a bit of a gap between the rest of this pack following, and this splitter cam is absolutely fantastic.
Esteban Ocon has just come in to serve his drive-through penalty in the Mercedes, so I'll put him even further down the order in the number 34 car. He's last of the remaining 23 runners. Tomczyk, the only driver out of the race, and look at Molina.
Wickens will fall out of DRS.
Molina falling away, pulling away from everybody here.
So that means, as Team Radio said, that's going to play into the hands of Marco Wittmann, who will have DRS, and of course Robert Wickens ahead of him won't. But this man is on a charge, isn't he, Matthias Ekstrom, right on the back of Christian Vitoris, which is the first of the pink Mercedes you see ahead of him. We're on board with Matthias Ekstrom now. To the timing line they come then. Molina has done a great job in terms of getting away from Jamie Green, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really got his head down, didn't he, as soon as he got the move done, and trying to break away from that DRS zone. He's not far off either, 0.8 seconds. If he can be more than 1 second clear at the start line, then he'll have Jamie Green struggling a little bit. Here's a replay of the start, and it was a good clean getaway from the first 4 rows, really. Lucas had the first of the bright pink Muka cars to the left, got a really good run, but couldn't actually make it pay dividends into the first corner. There was a bit of contact there. Timo Glock getting a
shove.
Yeah, a little shove from Mark Rockenfeller, yeah. And then Jamie Green just dug in, didn't he? Knew eventually he'd have the better line and we'll be able to get ahead of Molina.
So we see this looking backwards from on board. We're looking at the Mercedes of Robert Wickens now.
This is from Jamie Green, isn't it?
Yeah. Jamie had to remain absolutely committed. He did, and that was Bosch. Close the door, job done. However, Molina is doing the job now, isn't he? As he crosses the timing line, he needed to find another couple of tenths to get himself out of the and he's done it. Because Green is now a full second behind.
Yeah, Molina going well. He's only had 1 win in DTM. He's been racing for a while now. 2010 was his debut season. Jamie Green, on the other hand, is one of the long-serving members of DTM, along with Matthias Ekstrom and Gary Paffett. 12 wins in his career. 4th most successful driver on the grid currently in terms of race wins. Behind Ekstrom, Paffett and Spengler, another former champion. Here he is, the 05 champion, then a multiple championship runner-up as well. Let's not forget, he's only won the title once, Gary, but he's come mighty close to winning it several times. And he's still fighting, and he's still quick. There he is in the blue and yellow Euronics-backed Mercedes, trying to get himself a little bit further up the order here. But it's so tight out there. There aren't that many overtaking opportunities that it's going to be hard work for him. Here he comes. Timo Glock's trying to make good progress forward as well. He's just about in the points at the moment. Timo running in 10th position. Gary is just at the back of the shot in 17th place as they came down into the turn.
So Timo then, who is currently running P10. It's a fantastic onboard shot, and Timo really working hard. It's the fast part of the circuit down the start-finish straight, and then very heavy braking before turning in to that tight turn at number 1, then this sweeping S section before you rejoin part of the original oval by getting ever so close to the Really rather unforgiving concrete wall there.
Timo Glock glanced in qualifying this morning, didn't he? I think he'll probably not be the only one to do that during the course of the weekend as well. But you know, if you want to get up to top speed as quickly as possible onto that start-finish straight and line yourself up with a chance to pass into turn one, you've got to get as close to it as you dare.
For the moment, Wickens has held off the charge from Marco Wittmann, hasn't he?
The gap to the car behind is 0.7. 0.7 behind, 1.4 to the front.
Was his team radio. This is Jamie Green hard at work. We saw Hans-Jürgen Abt on the Audi pit wall just moments ago. But
okay, Robert. DRS. Green has 4.
Just how, looking at Jamie Green, how that neck is being forced, and a point I made in an earlier, might have been in the qualifying show this morning, is this has got an odd number of turns that are not expected, or not expected, not usual, I should say.
Yeah, anti-clockwise, and so normally more right-handers than left. It's the other way around here, and naturally, although they're super fit all over in terms of their bodies and their muscles, the drivers have stronger neck muscles to cope with the right-handers. So here, just resting the head a bit. There's only the one really quick left-hander. It's the one coming onto the straight, and that was, as we saw it, a dive at the inside from Tara on Timo Glock. That was on board with Timo. He's into turn one. Thought he was going to get the place back on the way out of the corner, but the line was covered off very nicely indeed, wasn't it? So Matara into the points. Glock out of the points, up to 10th place now for Edo, who had that retirement in the second race at Spielberg. I spoke to him last week and he said, I felt I could have won that race. I had good pace in that one, but wasn't to be. And that's second in the championship, although Paul, the rest of the championship leader, didn't score any points either, so it kept him only 3 points behind the championship leader here, and Paul the rest a long way back down the grid, as you said, although he's made a few up. He's into 15th place now.
Yes. So Paul de Resta up into P15. As there is Jamie Green going through, Robert Wickens, Marco Wittmann, then out and Vittorius Ekstrom, Martin Muller, Mortara Glock, Spengler, Antonio Felix da Costa, Mike Rockefeller, Paul de Resta, and Gary Paffett now is P16. We're on board with Matthias Ekstrom, the Team Abt driver, who is P7 at the moment. Chasing down that Mercedes-Benz Christian Vittorius ahead, but seemingly making quite as much progress towards that target as maybe he would like. DRS being used, as you can see, the rear wing drops down, then returns back up again once the DRS has been deployed. 3 times per lap it can be used. So perhaps Eki just getting a little bit closer now. Meantime, Molina leading by a 2.1 second margin over Jamie Green. He's up the road and very nearly in Dresden.
Yeah, and 2/10 quicker on that lap as well, so the gap grows, 2.3 seconds. There's Lucas Auer front of the shot, first of the bright pink Muka Motorsport cars, the very, very successful Berlin-based team, so this is one of their home races. Lots of single-seater experience as well, Peter Muka's team. In fact, Lucas Auer was one of their drivers when he raced in European Formula 3 and was one of the front runners in that championship before coming into DTM, teammate to Gary Paffett last year in Fred Vasseur's team, the ART Grand Prix team. Look how close they get to the wall as they come through. The camera shakes, the wall will not move though. If you hit it, you're going to come off worst. And there's just millimetres, isn't there, between the car and the mirror and that concrete wall, and it's the success difference between being very quick on a lap and being out of the race is, you know, just a narrow margin. So the race leader, Molina, 2.3 seconds clear of Jamie Green. Robert Wickens, the best of the Mercedes, in third. And then Marco Wittmann, 2014 champion, in 4th place. He's one of only 2 BMWs in the points at the moment. Maxime Martin is the other one, back in 8th place. So Marco driving well here. He's been the leading light for BMW on a number of occasions. Got the win last time out in Austria. He's 5th in the championship. And all weekend long, really, in the free practice sessions, Dave, it's Marco that's been the BMW driver that seems to be taking the fight to the other 2 manufacturers.
Yes, you're right. this splitter cam now on the car through the turns now. Hope we stay with this when we rejoin on the oval. Sadly we didn't. There is Molina, who really has checked out, hasn't he? And there's Jamie Green, Robert Wickens going through. Then it's Wittmann, Vitoris and Matthias Ekström. And they've pulled away a little bit from Maxime Martin, who's running in P8. Then it is Mortara P9 and Nico Muller rounding out the top 10 at the moment. The order on the left-hand side of your screen as well. We're on board with Gary Paffett, who's having to fight his way from being forced off the track. It was P16 that Gary Paffett is in at the moment with his markmate Paul de Resta, and points leader going into this race ahead of him in P15.
That's right, there is Mike Rockenfeller on the tail of Antonio Felix da Costa. Rockenfeller, one of 5 DTM drivers that took part in the Nürburgring 24 hours last weekend. Christian Vitoris almost won. His team almost got on the that historic name of winners, but they're overtaken their team by another Mercedes driven by Maro Engel on the very last lap of the race. So yesterday, Christian's saying it's still great to him when he thinks about it. He's been thinking about it all week, just how close he came. He'll have to go back and have another go, but he drove well, Christian. Here comes Mike Rockenfeller, then DRS open, down the inside of Antonio Felix da Costa, but Felix da Costa will try and get him back on the run, round into turn 2, and does exactly that, the Portuguese driver. He saw it coming, Dave. He let him go because he knew there was no way Mike was going to be able to stop the car and make the corner in time. It was a brave attempt, but of course when you've got the DRS open, Dave, you're carrying much more speed into the corner than normal, so you have to brake a bit differently.
And what that little battle between the two of them, of the place swap and then swap back again, has allowed Paul de Resta and Gary Paffett to get right on terms with them now. So the BMW and the Audi now very much in the target sights of certainly Paul de Resta and also potentially Gary Paffett, because their swapping of places and swapping back again here just allowed them to get ever closer. And this in replay, and you can see just as they were jostling their positions, how these two Mercedes drivers were able to close the gap a little bit more.
Well, Molina is looking very convincing here, isn't he? He's bit by bit pulling away from Jamie Green. Another 2/10 on that lap, so 2.6 seconds the difference. Christian Vitoris has found somewhere a bit more pace the last couple of laps. He was falling away from Lucas Auer. The last lap, he was the quickest man on the circuit with a 1:18.2, and he took 3/10 out of him. He's a bit quicker on that. This lap just gone as well. Having another go here is Mike Rockenfeller. Glances down the inside, but it would have had to be a lunge again, and he knows what happens if he lunges. He runs out of road, so he sensibly, I think, backs off that time. He hasn't got... Well, he's got pressure in terms of 2 cars right behind him, but they're not all over the back of him at the moment. De Resta, I'm sure, will go for it if he gets a chance. If you're the championship leader and you've got any chance of progressing towards the top 10 and some points, you're going to take it, aren't you?
Absolutely, you are. And I just wonder into that turn 1 whether Rocky was trying to sell him a dummy ahead of him, but in any event, wasn't able to do anything. But I do think the beneficiary of these two fighting is Paul de Resta and Gary Paffett, potentially. Well, you were mentioning about how close we get to the wall. There, one bent door mirror indicates from Eduardo Mortara. That's how close you sometimes get. Now, bearing in mind how delicate these cars are, too many of those little clumps against the concrete ain't going to help it, is it?
That's right. There's lots of bits of aero kit on these cars, isn't there? Huge amounts, in fact. So, the car of Lucas Auer really.